I'm Daniel, the past life regressionist, and it's time to begin.
Lift off and the clock has started.
This is Timeless Spirituality. Enjoy Eternity Time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Timeless Spirituality. It is time for another new episode. And this one was recorded back in the spring of 2025. My guest, Maddy, is going to be talking about her past life regression experience, but this one is not the expanse method. So I just want to show the distinction for you guys. This was using beyond quantum healing and still amazing process. But if you guys want to check out the expanse method, you can go ahead and check out some of the other episodes that start with the expanse method. I'm also going to have some more of those coming up. And of course, if you want to try it, you can go ahead and book on my website. So with all that said, if you would like to book a regression with me to discover who, when, and where you have been throughout time, you can reach me on Instagram at the Past Life Regressionist or book through my website, thepastliferegressionist.com. And now it's time to begin. Maddy, thank you so much for being on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thanks. How
Yeah?
are you doing? Yeah.
I'm good. I'm pumped.
Excited to be here.
Yeah. Before we jump in, just want to ask you, who is Maddy?
That's a good question. Maddy is trying to figure out who Maddy is, which is part of the journey that led me to you in past life regression. But living in Los Angeles, currently working full time in the social revenue space as an account manager, and trying to really this season of my life is trying to identify who I am and what actually brings me joy, and intersecting those two things into what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to be remembered by? And what's something that I want to create in the life that I have here? So that is the journey that I'm currently on.
What do you believe in?
I believe in community. I believe in personal growth and believing in something bigger than yourself. I definitely think that the key to life is learning about how you can fit yourself into the bigger picture and work towards elevating the human consciousness.
Sounds like fun.
Sounds like a lot of work, but fun. Yes. Rewarding, I guess.
So I'm asking a new question for the 5th season of the show. What do you feel the difference is between belief and faith?
I think inner knowing for me. I think belief is something tangible, something that you kind of know is going to work out. And faith is that unknown where it's more of your intuition, where you're I can't see it, I can't feel it, I can't taste it, but I know that it's something that I can lean into and put my trust into.
That was impressive.
Thanks.
Cool. All right, so let's start talking past lives. Why is it that you wanted to have a past life regression?
Yes. And I know I talked a little bit about this, but I think this was a perfect example of really just trusting the universe to bring me a new experience and bring me something that I wanted. I know the word manifestation is being thrown around very freely in today's society, which I love. I think the power of manifestation is very real. But for me, this was such a perfect example of how just letting the universe put the pieces together to bring you to your destination or what you're looking for. This is a clear example of that. So I was really struggling when I first moved to LA, about to enter my Saturn return, just really feeling who am I? What do I want out of my life? Just feeling a bit unfulfilled and a bit dull in life, which isn't typically like me. And I have a really good friend here who's on her spiritual journey as well. And she's been a confidant for me and really helping me navigate kind of this dip in morale that I was going through. And she gave me a book and she was like, "You're going to love this book. It's called Many Lives, Many Masters." I'm sure everyone who listens to this podcast knows this, as well as his soulmate book. So I read those in record time, and it just really hit home in giving you an understanding of just like taking the weight off of this life, of being like, I don't have to accomplish everything today or even tomorrow. And that I've lived with some of these people in my past, but as well as I've had the opportunity to tackle some of these goals in my past as well. And it was just really interesting. It got me thinking, who are my soulmates? Who are people in my past life that I've come across, as well as what is some guidance in past lives that I can take into this one? And so, went on Google, was searching in the LA area if there are any past life regressionists, but had this feeling of, oh, I'm not really sure I can be vulnerable with some of these strangers. Is it a hoax? All of those feelings that you go through when you find something on Google. So kind of put a pause on the search. And then I one day woke up and I was like, I need to get my hair cut. So randomly booked a hair trim with this hairstylist in West Hollywood in Los Angeles. And we got to talking and just kind of sharing our story. And she really opened up to me about some struggles that she faced, losing her sister. And I brought up Many Lives, Many Masters. And I was like, well, I just read this book. It definitely highlights how, you've lived many lives with your sister and how you will again in the future. And this just opened up such a beautiful conversation. And she was like, well, I've done a past life reading with Daniel. And then I just had tears in my eyes because, like, whoa, this is so crazy because one, it's kind of niche, past lives. I mean, I don't know a ton of people who are getting past lives read. You, Daniel, probably do because you do it for a living. But so we exchanged contact information and she sent me your number. And I was still a bit hesitant because, again, just like being so vulnerable and open, and you just never know what kind of experiences this is going to bring up, but reached out to you and you were just, so kind and lovely and warm and welcoming. And yeah, we had the best reading. It was really impactful. So that's how my past life regression came to be. And I felt like it was just such a beautiful journey. And it was at this point in time when I think I was more open to like learning a little bit more about who I was and where I want to go.
Oh, Saturn return time will do that for you.
Yeah. And I haven't even entered my Saturn return. I think it was a prerequisite. It was like taking my SATs before going to college. So
I think you're a little ahead of the curve there. But yeah, again, I the beholder for me. I'm like, hey, someone's coming around this stuff. Awesome. That's neither here nor there right now because we're here to talk about Maddy. Anyways, just for everyone listening, she was talking about Crystal, who I had on the show back in, I want to say it was somewhere in the episode 80s to 90s range, and where she came on and shared her past life experience. So it's amazing the way that things happen. And I mean, what's so cool for me to hear about that story also is that it kind of just reminds me of how when I started coming around to all this stuff, I had no idea that people would know anything I was talking about, but I would bring it up. And there were people who I knew who, I mean, I was terrified to tell them I was a past life regressionist, and they were on board with it. And some of them had had their own experiences, stuff that I just hadn't known about, that they had already, partaken in themselves. And it just showed me that there are so many more people out there who really believe in this stuff, but they just don't really talk about it openly unless someone else opens up the door for them. So, I mean, I think that's so cool that you were sitting there, getting your hair done and talking about past lives.
Yeah. And I think it definitely takes a special kind of person to, be open to these experiences as well. Like, I do think it comes from a place of you have to be ready to be pretty vulnerable, which I think a lot of people are not. And also just such a willingness to learn and grow, because I think that was something that Crystal, for instance, like really was searching for something and searching for that healing. And for me, it was a little bit different where I haven't had anyone pass over yet that close to me. But for me, it was really a piece of, okay, how do I identify who I am? And I think a lot of times, people on podcasts and everything will talk about, oh, go back to your childhood, learn a hobby, try something new. And that's great and all. But I think, there's that piece of just going back to faith as well, of like just trusting that there's something more than that. And yeah, I think it was such a cool moment to reflect on too, of just being exactly brought to my destination of wanting a past life regression and then having it fall into my lap almost.
Some faith right there.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I still get giddy over how that stuff happens.
Me too.
Yeah.
And that also helps when we're talking about faith, like just bolster your faith even more, because like, okay, it was something in the back of my mind that I wanted to try, but I wasn't getting on the phone and calling people up and searching for this experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it was following the flow of life and it kind of came to me. And I think that's like a perfect example of faith and manifestation as well.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. When I say I agree, that's also my way of saying I got nothing to add. I think you covered everything. So there's nothing I need to say. Anyways, what came up for you in your past life regression?
It's been about 6 months since we've done the regression.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about it probably weekly, because I think something that we were talking about in the session is like, for you, you'll do another regression and new things will come up and like more clarity will come from it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think about it regularly on like, what is the theme that I was trying to tell myself while going through the regression. And this was something we talked about after, but each scenario or each past life that I went through kind of had a similar narrative.
Mm-hmm.
It started out with me, being younger, going through a really tough situation, like losing my parents or being uprooted and having to find a new or create a new home on my own. Another scenario was like losing my child during to a stillborn. So having like a really, really tough situation, like a hard life. And then given this opportunity to completely change that. And then my lives changed. They did like a full 180. And I, completely kind of Phoenix rising from the ashes, created a new life after that tough opportunity. And it was almost like being able to fully like shut the door on a life that you're not wanting to live anymore, and making that firm decision of it's time to change. So I can give you an example.
Sure.
Of like the first scenario or life, I guess I should say, that happened was I was a little girl and it felt like an old Western scene. And I woke up one day and I was walking into town and I didn't see any visuals, but what the overwhelming feeling was that I was being hunted almost, and my family had passed away and that it was just me. And someone had kind of pushed me to leave the town, and I got on a horse and I like left this old Western village almost. And then was, riding for a while and came across a Native American tribe that then I was fully immersed into this tribe and became a part of their family. So it was just like the complete opposite life that I was living prior, but coming out of it being like feeling so much more at home, so much more love, so much more safety from that like huge, massive shift.
I forgot, how did that life end?
I think we just moved
get that
through.
Far? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we just moved through. And something that was like surprising to me too is obviously when you hear, I forget who talks about Many Lives, who wrote Many Lives,
Brian
Many
Weiss?
Masters. Yeah. When you read Brian Weiss's not like books, it makes it seem like you're going to be seeing a
Yeah.
full color picture in your mind, you know?
Yeah.
But instead it's very much like little clips and then over feeling it. It feels like you're dreaming. It really does feel like that. When you've ever woken up from a dream and you're like, whoa, that felt so real. That's what I was experiencing during the regression. So, it wasn't panoing every move that I was making, but it was like short little clips of what I was going through in that time.
So what Maddie's referring to right now is a problem that I frequently encounter with people who have read a lot of the books or even one of the books. Even when someone tells me ahead of time that they read a book, or when we start the session, they say, oh, I've read this, I kind of tense up because, I mean, I experienced this personally as well, because I'd read a couple books before my initial session, and I'm very visual. So when I would be reading the book, I would have this whole world built in my head of what was going on. And just like you were saying, like it's like almost like a full immersion, and everything is playing out in front of you, and everyone is just moving so perfectly. And it wasn't like that for me. That's not to say that people don't have that experience, but I feel like there's this expectation that's set because that's kind of what you're thinking while you're reading. And then once you drop into it and it's not what you imagined, then there's like this hesitation because it's like, wait, I don't think I'm doing this right because I thought that it was going to be like this. So yeah, I mean, it's totally normal. I've had that. I've had so many people have that. It's why the very first thing I say to you right before we go in, there are 4 things I say. The first thing is just trust whatever comes up. However you think this is going to happen, I can promise you it's not going to be that way. I got it down because that's what I say all the time. So just trust whatever comes up, and everything will make sense in the end as long as you as long as you allow the process to unfold. So I think that's kind of what you were touching on, right? With regards
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think another thing that came up for me during that time was hypnosis is so weird because that you're not dreaming. It's almost like you're in this really intense daydream, when you're driving in the car and you're looking out the window and you're having all of these like thoughts. That's kind of what it felt like for me. And so part of me was like, oh, is this the regression? Am I actually pulling up past memories? Or am I just thinking really hard about a narrative that I'm facing and putting random characters to it? And I know we talked a little bit about that too, of like, how do I know this is real? And so I think going into it, I was like, oh, am I just making this up? Is this just a daydream, or is this actually what happened in a past life? To the end being like, there were so many overlaps. There was such a common theme. Like, I don't think I could have daydreamed that many scenarios with the same overarching theme. So I know we talked a little bit about that too before my session. I was like, how do I know this is not a scam?
It's okay. I've heard it.
Yeah.
No offense. It's all good. So also I think what Maddie's talking about there is how even when you think that you're making it up because it's coming so seamlessly and it's like, oh, well, I could just be making up this story. When I was saying before about allowing the process to unfold and everything will make sense in the end, it's because even when these lives pop up on their own, they seem very isolated. But by the end, there is a clear theme that is so, like, how would I put it? It's so simply intricate in where you just like, I'm a writer and I don't think that I could even come up with that stuff. The nuance of it and how it just perfectly works itself out to create that narrative. And that's what I love about being a practitioner also, is seeing this narrative unfold and seeing these similarities come up. I'm like, oh, I'm excited to see where this one goes. Like, little girl, family abandoned her. Now she's living with a Native American tribe. Wonder what the next one's going to bring or what that through line is going to be. So I think to me, that's also one of those things where I don't think it's proof that it's real, as that it is a real past life. I believe that it is. But to me, it just proves that there is something else that is working with you in that moment and helping provide that information, which to me, even if that's the case and these aren't actual past lives, I don't think it makes a difference, because if it helps you understand a theme that's coming up in your current life, in a more tangible way, I think that's all that matters. With that said, I still believe that those were past lives and that those were your past lives. Just saying.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts,
No,
Maddy?
I totally agree with that. I also think it's such a weird connection that you have to those characters or past selves that I don't think you really have when you are daydreaming or just coming up with, a story. Like I like when my past self lost that baby, like I physically felt that, like just
Mm-hmm.
grief and pain. And, you feel that. I don't think you can feel that when you're just in a state of dreaming, or I haven't, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you're like, okay, yeah, this is crazy. You have such a connection to, whoever you're imagining or thinking about.
Mm-hmm. Because I think that the reaction is almost visceral. So it's not
Hmm.
like you're just watching a sad movie and you're feeling for the character that way. It's you're feeling it.
It's like full body, like you feel it in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still think it's really cool. Sorry that you had to go through that, but
No, it
you
was
know.
worth it. Because it's not there's no like you're not feeling any physical pain. You're not feeling like I didn't wake up after being like, "Oh my God, I'm so depressed. I went through that." Like it still very much felt like you're an outsider looking in, but you can tell that you're connected to that person or that memory somehow.
Mhm.
So it wasn't I was definitely a little scared before of being like, "Oh my God, is this going to send me into a spiral or, you know, put me deeper into the depths of wherever I was at?" And that's not the case at all. So I think it really was just more data on the graph showing like what your direction is and like where you're coming from and where you're going. Because for me, like I'm in this place of reinvention, and every single story that I went through was about reinvention and was about like taking that leap of faith, which is very like we talk about this. I'm a double Taurus, like I have a lot of earth in me. So taking those leaps of faith is very scary and very hard. But it was laid out in almost every scenario that the reward is there if you do take that leap. So the narrative was very clear. It was all entirely about reinvention. And the end of every story was a happy, positive one.
Mm-hmm. Well, what was the happy positive with the woman who lost the baby?
she she found the love of her life. Like she found the love of her life and they just died of old age together happily. And the story with the woman with the baby was she was going through that alone. Like she was very alone during that time. She was in a house isolated in the hills. Like it felt almost like in the hills of the Swiss Alps. And she didn't have a community around her. She didn't have anyone supporting her other than a midwife there. And I remember this so clearly. Like she walked outside one day and was just like, I can either stay here and die, or I can go down, start a new life, and find some joy. And it was like this split-second decision of, okay, I have to leave where I am right now. And then the next image I had was she was a seamstress in an old town and met this man and like they fell in love. And then it cut to like her dying of old age in her bed and like being just like this overwhelming feeling of like, yes, I didn't have another kid. Yes, I'm not like extremely wealthy, but I've been loved. And that was what she was craving at the end of the day.
Yeah, who saw that one coming?
I know. I'm like,
Yeah,
what? She's not
something
rich?
special.
I'm kidding.
Of course, the double Taurus focused on the material aspect. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I got two of my big three in Taurus, so it's okay. It's like I guess I'm being self depreciating there. It's okay, Maddie. You're still cool in my eyes.
Yeah, you can relate to me.
So, anything else come up for you?
That was definitely the overarching theme. A lot of questions that I ponder in my current life, like I just instinctively had the answers to those. I forget some of the questions that I had you ask me, but I think one of them was, have you been with your family in past lives? And it was like immediately yes. And that's not something I've ever pondered before. But it was something that I just knew.
How'd that feel?
It was a huge relief. It was a huge relief because I think going back to why people find comfort in past life regressions is I think it's such a hustle culture. It's so much like you have, 60 years until you retire and then you're dead, basically, is how society tells you to function. And there's just so much that you want to do in this life. You want to make money, you want to have a good family, you want to buy a nice house, you want to travel and see the world, and you want to do all of these things. And there's so much pressure to get it all done in 60 years. And so I think this kind of was a reframe and took that pressure away of, okay, if I don't get it done in this life, there's another life where I can master that skill or spend more time with that person that maybe I didn't get to. So I think it was more of like a weight off my shoulders. The pressure of time was kind of a weight off my shoulders as well.
And how have things changed for you since your session?
I think just more self-discovery. Like I'm going to be honest, I haven't really actioned anything since my sessions, but it's given me a lot of clarity and a lot of things to think about in terms of this reinvention, and also really looking at like what are some of these narratives that I tell myself in this current life that maybe isn't true anymore. Like I think back about that woman who's lost everything, and it's like she could have reframed it if she stayed and been like, what's good about my life, instead of uprooting everything entirely. And I think that was a reframe as well, where it doesn't have to be all pain in your current life.
Mm-hmm. I say that's a win.
Yeah, I think it's a win. It's also still having me kind of ponder of like, what do I want to reinvent myself to? Like, is it, and I'm more open to kind of a massive shift. I'm like, am I going to move to Antarctica? Maybe I have to. No, I don't know.
Do you want to be a researcher or something, or a scientist? I think,
No.
yeah, I get a very remote station down there. I mean, you can go to Antarctica. I hear it's a good time to go there around December or something like that during their summer.
I could join another tribe like I did my past life.
I don't know how many tribes they have there unless they're penguins.
Fair enough.
All right. Now it's time for the Saturn game. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
All right. So in this little baggie, I have 4 periods of time.
Okay.
So I'm going to pull one out and I'm going to ask you a question with it. But as you see, I'm mixing it up, pulling my hand out to show you that, I'm not holding anyone in particular, mixing it up. Okay. The third time's a charm. Oh, I looked at it. Sorry. One more time. Now I look to the side. Okay. So Maddy, how have you grown in the last week?
This is actually a good one because I think that I've grown in having more confidence in myself and just believing in myself a bit more. I think Leo risings come from a place of wanting to shine, but secretly doubting themselves a little bit. And I think I've been in kind of that doubtful mindset for a really long time. And now I'm just like having more confidence in myself, saying yes to things, and going in to these new experiences with more like, yes, I can, rather than what if I can't?
That's a big week.
I know. It kind of has been.
Yeah. That's a lot of growth in a week.
And just energy levels as well. That's one that I'll say. I don't know what's in the stars right now, but I've had so much energy and I feel like I've just been, cranking out things that I've wanted to do and having a good balance between social life, work, and new opportunities.
Yay.
Woo.
Well, I'd like to thank you so much for coming on today. This was a great chat, great through line of take a leap of faith. I'm excited to see where these leaps of faith continue to take you and have fun during that Saturn return. Can't wait to hear all about it.
Thanks.
During it and after, and then years down the line as you reflect back on it from a different perspective and a different vantage point. It's a good time. It's good. Nothing to worry about.
As he laughs.
Well, I think it was the most beautifully chaotic time of my life. I'll put it that way. But it's a time that I wouldn't trade for anything. And I don't think it was bad. I mean, there are other periods of my life I think that were worse, but there was a lot of change, a lot of upheaval in that respect. Which, you know, for someone who's a double Taurus, I mean, you get it. You know, we like our comfort. So it's going to be great, Maddie. Don't worry about it.
Well, I
heard
can't wait.
myself
I'll
saying that out
definitely
loud. And I saw you just like, oh.
I was like, well, it's been a lot of change recently, but I think I can handle it. So I'll definitely be giving you updates as it comes.
You got it. It's good. You're double Taurus. We know how to handle our shit.
Yes, we do.
Fellow time travelers, your journey through time awaits you. Just want to thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. And if you're interested in discovering who, when, and where you have been throughout time, and you'd like to book a sesh with me, just go ahead and send me a message on Instagram at The Past Life Regressionist, or you can reach me through my website, yourpastliferegressionist.com.